so I'll share my screen now. Okay. Can you tell me any problem that I should pick up from the previous challenge? Okay, and I'll kinda solve it for you people again. I see challenges. Shall I take this problem only? Let me challenge myself again today. Okay, I'll take this problem only today. Okay. Okay. So as you can see here, this is the problem statement. Okay. Um, this is the problem statement. All these things are given to you. Problem is told. Okay. Input lines are given. What is the expected output, that is also given. They have given you certain test cases. Okay, like if the array is 1 2 to 1 to 1, if this array is fed into this function here, or this as a vector, if it is fed into this function, right, this thing will come here, and you can access it like a normal vector now, because it is sent in as a parameter, right? Now we can access this vector, which is an array. Okay, but please don't mind if I call a vector as an array. Okay, please bear with me, they actually are. Okay, so I should do something jumbo, my thoughts should go inside here. Inside here. Okay, I should code something up, and for this array I have to return this value back. This function should return a value like 2, and it can change for different values of this vector, right? So for some different values of this vector, this function should return different answers, right? Because the answer changes for different types of inputs. For 100, 1000, the output was 3, right? So I returned 3 here. So did you all understand what I meant here? Because you know what functions are, right? At least that you guys know, right? What functions are actually. Akshata, please mute yourself. So did you all understand what I meant here with the functions? Let's not talk about the class now, just the functions. Everybody, again attendance time. Only 3, rest. Okay. See, there is no problem if you don't know what functions are. I'll explain. Tell me, just tell me, because today I'm taking class for functions also. If you don't know what functions are, you can ask me now. Yeah, I will know. Today's class is about functions. अरे सर मत बोल यार, एम्बैरेसमेंट फील होता है. ओके, तो क्या है ना, functions. Let's talk about functions today again. Okay, your normal C++ code. Okay, Carvalho, I don't know how to pronounce you, bro, sorry. Okay, this is a normal C++ program. Okay, this normal C++ program starts with this line, hash include IO stream. This is a header file which you have to include in every C++ program, okay, for it to work. And you have to include this line also. For now you can byte this line using namespace standard. Okay, then any C++ program, listen everybody, okay, any C++ program starts from this subroutine function. This is again a function. It starts from here. Your C++ code will start from here inside this function. The first line which is executed is this line, which is inside your function. Okay, so no matter if you write a function here, let's say I write a function like void foo, okay, int x, some block is there, okay, inside it some code is there. This function is not called automatically. It should be called from the main function. Okay. Now the people who are new here, don't get overwhelmed. Okay. This is a normal function. I'll tell you what functions are, but just for the people who are new here, just know that, you know, this is the basic structure of a C++ program. Don't forget about this part. This is the basic structure of a C++ program. It starts with hash include IOStream, then this line, then you have int main, open and closing brackets, and return 0, which you have to write. Okay, I'll get back to that also again. Did you all understand this? The people who are new here, do you have any idea on programming? Are you from biology or something like that? Okay, so in 5 minutes for all other people. Okay, so whatever inside curly braces are functions. No, Gia. I'll tell you what functions exactly are. Okay, don't mistake it right now. But Gia and Carvalho, do you know what cout, scene, how to take, how to declare variables, how to read variables in a C++ or C program? Do you know that? Do you know about cout, scene? Thoda. Okay. Okay, so just a brief. Okay, everybody, please bear with me. 5 minutes. Okay, so this is how you declare variables in C++ or in a C program. Int x and y. These are like boxes. X is a box and it's labeled as x. Okay, this is an integer. It will store integer values. Okay, this is another box which is y. You can separate two variables, like you can declare two variables in a single line by separating them by a comma. Okay, and every C++ statement should end with a semicolon. Okay, semicolon. Now if you want to make the, assign values to these variables, you can do it directly. Okay, you can do it directly like this. You can hard code it, or, and if you want to print them, cout x, this is how you print in C++. Okay, you can use this line which is called cout. It is a directive. Okay, then two backward, arrows, x space y slash n. And if I run this program now, 5 and 6 gets printed. Did you all understand this? If you wanted to print the famous hello world, you can do that also. But I didn't print any variables here. Yeah, I'll tell you, Arama, wait a second. Okay. So the new people, did you understand what I did here? Please be responsive, okay? Because we are a bit ahead. See, I can't neglect you also. I can't neglect them also right now, because they would be like, he is teaching basics now again, which is actually needed. They still are pretty much new. Now what if I wanted to print hello world and two more numbers side to side of it? It's not necessary. You can see cout is there, right? Then if you want to print a variable x or any string, first you want to print a variable, let's say x, then if you want to print something ahead of it, you can specify another arrow and then you can specify y and a semicolon. But if you want to stop here only, you can stop with a semicolon here itself. Why I do this slash n is because I want to add a new line, right? After a new line, if I want to print something again, that is, let's say 6, I can do that like this also, then a semicolon. Now if you see 5 and 6 will come in a new line, 5 comes, then 6 comes. Do you understand this here? Okay, that is one thing. Okay, now let's say I want to add two numbers x. Okay, before that, okay, now I had initially written it like this, now int x is equal to 5 6. What if I don't want to do that? I want to ask the user for the value of two numbers. Let's say I want to ask the user enter two numbers. Okay, then I give a break of one new line. Okay, it goes down. Okay, your what do you say, printing screen is there, no? It will print the string. Okay, again, if you don't know what strings are, they are a collection of characters. Okay, like this, a normal line in English. Okay, sorry, wait a second. Okay, so I print this line. After that I give a break of a line. It goes to the next line. Now anything which is printed will be printed in the next line. Okay, so cout enter two numbers. So now I want to put some value into these variables, right? Okay, so I can do cin x y. That is done. Now if I want to print cout x, I print a space. Now inside two double quotes I put a space. Now y semicolon. Now your console is asking whatever is coming here. Now this is called a console. Okay, now if I write 2 space 3, what it will do is, this line was sensing for two integer variables and I have given them here, right? So 2 will go into this x, then 3 will go into this y. If I enter 2 3 will get printed here. So that was it. That is normal workflow in C++. Okay, now I have these two numbers. Now I want to add these two numbers, let's say. Okay, if I want to do that, I can again initialize a variable called as sum and I can do x plus y and I can print it. Just a second guys, I'll start with the correct session very soon, don't worry. Okay, so if I run this now, if I write 2 3, the sum of numbers is 5. Okay, it is coming. If I wanted a space here, I could just do this. Okay, so in that line only there is a space at the end, or I could do this. Okay, so there is a space now. Did you all understand? I guess it's Pritesh, no? Pritesh Karwalyu and Jia. Did you all understand, guys? Okay. People who are there since 1 month are saying yes. See, you have newcomers today. Okay, don't overwhelm them up. Help them. After the quiz, we have newcomers. Okay. So, Jia, did you understand? Okay, so this is done. Now let's say, okay, I did x plus y here. Okay, now let's say I don't want to do this inside this part. I want to do it somewhere else. Okay, so what can I do? You know, I can just declare a function now. Okay, a function is declared like this. If I open my Xcali draw, okay, a function is a set. Let's say a function. Okay, a function. What do you in mathematics? Let's say y is equal to f of x. You write, right? What does this mean? You are going to input some data into this function. It will do some computation. It will return you certain value, and it will store it in this variable called as y. Don't you agree with this, everybody? Now this is for everyone. Okay, for you to understand, this is what functions do, no, in mathematics. Only 4 people, rest slept, मर गए तुम लोग. Okay, okay, that is what in mathematics. So you can say that this x is an input to this function. I am sending some data into this function, and it is returning me some data, right, as output. Yes or no? So if it is taking some input here, this function f, if it is taking some input here, then for obvious reasons it is doing some computation inside it, right, to give you a result, right, return some result, right. It is doing some computation within it, and then it returns you a result and stores in y, right? Yes or no? It was better for me to teach you mathematically before, right? Okay, so that was that. Similarly, in programming you have functions. You name your function first. I named it foo. Okay, I say I will take some two data int x, two variables I'm going to take as input for this function, int x, comma, another input int y. Whatever I write inside this flower braces is the instructions that are going to be executed by this function. They could be just instructions. Okay, it would do some amount of work and return nothing. If it doesn't return nothing, I write a void. There is no return value from this function. But in case I want to return some value by outside, right, if I want to return some value, let's say that was y, right, I'll say it will return me a integer value, and I do that return thing here, return some result. This is clear to all of you? I'll break it down and go step by step. Then we'll move into the flat forms. Everybody are alive, no? Okay, you all understood what this was? New people, did you understand? See, I'm not targeting you because I want you to understand properly. Yeah, if you don't write return, you have to specify it as void, that it doesn't return anything. Void means what? Nothing. Did you understand, Jia? In mathematics, usually you are, y is equal to f of x, like this you write. But in programming, there is a special case where your function doesn't do anything. Karthik, don't take a doubt wrong. Okay, Karthik, are you there? don't take up any doubts. Okay, what I can do is I'll do it in front of you all. See, you have to come here, right click, then what you have to do is mute post, then mute it for 3 hours. Ignore. बाढ़ में गया during a session asking doubts. Okay, huh? So f of x in C++ you have, here we say f, no, like I called it foo, you could call it apurva, someone may call it Karthik also, some may call it some may call it C, some may call it maximum element after decrementing and rearrange in LeetCode. Understood? Similarly, they can expect a int value back, right? This part you forget for now. Okay, did you understand this? Now can you relate what is happening in GFG or LeetCode? Everybody, some clarity you guys got? Everybody. Okay, today's session is going to be very casual. Okay, very basics we are going to talk. But it will include time complexity, a bit of time complexity. Okay, so that was about functions. So let me give you an example now. So I want to do sum of two numbers. What I could have done was int sum is equal to x plus y, then cout. Sum is blah 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 blah. I did that now before. Instead of that, I don't want to print it inside here. I will call my function foo. I will send him these two parameters, x and y. So this is called a function call. Your function is declared here, it is not executing. It gets executed when your main function calls it or some other function calls it, you know. Let's not go there, but your main function is calling it. That other function is your main function right now. Did you understand this? Your function is declared. You specify its body, what it has to do. For example, int sum is equal to x plus y. Then you do a cout inside here. Sum of two numbers is sum slash n, and you don't return anything. But this block is not executed, this function is not executed until and unless you call it, right? Even here, f of x, someone has to come and, you know, write it on the paper at least. This function is defined somewhere in the book, it is defined, but if you want to use it, you know, you are going to input some values into it. That is like calling the function, don't you think? You say x is there, the function is telling I am expecting some value, but you have to give that value, no? And that value is given from somewhere, don't you think? And that somewhere is from your main function. Could be from other function also, but right now that other function is the main function. So I am relating it somehow. Did you guys understand? Or if I am going fast, please tell me. Did you all understand? Everybody. The new people. It may look like I am targeting you guys, but please don't think like that, okay? Okay. But wait, this is not a simple thing for just two of you. Hey, everybody understood, huh? Where are others? Everybody. You don't understand, tell me. Right, function call, did you understand? Okay, function call, if you understood. Now the same thing which I did by writing these two lines here, I've written inside a function, okay, and I've called that function. Now see the magic, still the same output. Oh, wait a second, sorry, it is expecting two parameters, right? Like I'm sending two variables, so it should have two parameters also to hold those variables, right? Int x, int y. If I run them, now I have to enter two numbers, 2 space 3, that is here. Enter two numbers. See how the program is running. Int main function is called, int x, two variables are declared, count, cout, enter two numbers, /n. You read these two numbers, which is done here, okay. Now I'm going to call my function. When I press enter, no, here, when I press enter, this function is going to get called from this line. So your main function is calling your function void foo. Okay, so when I do an enter, sum of two numbers is 5. It is printed by this function now, not by the main function. If you want more clarity, I can just see out I am inside foo. See, I am inside foo. Sum of two numbers is 5. Then if you want to know again, no, after this 3 lines are executed, this function is terminated, it is destroyed in your memory, and your control comes back to this line, and then it comes here. So if I write, no, I am inside main. Now if I run, if I write 2 3, see, 2 3 is done. It calls this function, I am inside foo, does the sum, prints this sum of two numbers is 5. Now this function is terminated, comes back, yeah, because foo has done its job. So now main function is done. This line in the main function is done. Now the main function will continue executing its other logic, which is I am inside main. So this happens. So did you all understand this? Now see why return 0. This main function's return type is int. This is also a function only, right? When you compile your program, it creates a .exe file. That .exe file is going to call your main function. When you do ./a.out, no, if you actually do it with MinGW, okay, with G++, when you write G++ ./a.out, you know, when you do it, you and enter, your executable is going to call this main. We'll talk about that in brief in future sessions, okay, because even I'm not pretty much sure about the compiling process, okay. I don't want to give any misinformations right here, okay. So when that is done, no, this main function is called, all these lines are executed. At the end, when you write return 0, it means that my function ended successfully, right? That is why I return 0, okay, because my int main is expecting me to return an integer, so I am returning 0. You could return 1, 2, anything. Did you all understand this? Did you all understand how a basic C++ code works? Okay, what is the doubt? Not necessarily. Like in binary, 0 means true or false, something like that, yeah. Gia, if you have any specific doubt, you can ask. Taking a session on functions only, so it's not an issue. Did the rest of you understand? You can write it first. You can write your main function at the top, and you can write these functions at the bottom, okay. But what you have to do is then you have to write a function prototype here. You have to say that there was a function void foo which has two parameters int x and y, then give a semicolon, so that your compiler understands when it comes here, no, for the declaration part, when it compiles this code, okay, that it was declared before, something like that. So I don't like this, I don't like to do this, so I just declare my functions before my main. So the order doesn't, like, this is the normal order that I follow. Yeah. I can't guarantee. Maybe 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, mostly 1 hour, 1 hour more. So you will get an error. You can't write a function without a main function. Sorry, you can't write a program without your main function. You can't write a C++ program without your main function. Could write a header file, that is something which we'll discuss later in some other sessions. You need main for your execution, because if you feel that is convenient, you can go with this. No, but you have to see extra lines of code you have to write, right? You'll have to write this. You'll have to write that, no, void foo int x comma, or else you can write int comma int also. Basically, this is also fine. If you write 2 3, it will do the same thing. Programming is a bit different sometimes, there are certain rules that you have to follow. When I say, what do you say, I am just everybody, when I say function declaration, I'm just declaring it, okay? I'm not running it or anything. It is called by this guy, only then it gets executed. Till then it is just like, what do you say, someone has kept something in the store, it is just there, it is not getting used. When it is used, when you go and take that thing and eat something from it or utilize it something, right? It's like a function. That is what a function is. It is a procedure, Jia, did you understand what we are talking about? Everybody, did you understand what I said? Rest of you. Okay, fine. So this is done. So similarly, your function may not, accept any what do you say, parameters also, right? So that time what you have to do is, you will have to, declare variables inside this function. Then you have to do cin x y, right? That time you have to omit this part out, right? You don't need to send any data into the function now. Also this part out. So these are comments, okay? When I do comments, when I include // before a line, this statement is ignored by your compiler. This doesn't get executed. It just skips it, considers this as there was nothing here, something like that, If I put a comment, it is like this for the compiler. Now the same thing I can do here now. but I didn't write something like I'm inside foo cout enter two numbers slash n int x e n c I. Now it is inside foo enter two numbers 2 3. See, sum of two numbers is 5. So different ways of writing a code. Did you all understand this? I am writing my code in very different ways now, right? Did you all understand this? Those are comments, not commands. Comments. One thing is your structure. Here, one thing is your structure, and let's say I want to do certain amount of task repeatedly inside my main function. Let's say I wanted to, there is some task. Okay, there is some task. I want to do that task. Let's say that task is 50 lines. Okay, I write some code cout hi slash n, and I have to do that task. Let's say cout I can that, let's say x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20. Okay, int sum is equal to, what do we say, x plus y cout x y, not daily, that is decided by me. When I want, I'll call. Okay, so x and y is there. Then again some task you do comments. Okay, comments means it is a comment here, but I'm just showing that there is some task which I'm doing here. Okay, so certain lines are there. What happens is, now again I want to execute this 4 lines again. I want to do this job again. Okay, right, I want to do this job again. Now I want to change the values of these variables, let's say 30 40, and I want to do the sum, something like that. And if you think, if there are 5000 lines of your code and you are doing this task like 50 times, right? If you are doing this task 50 times and each, like, that task is ranging for like 3 lines, like doing sum of two numbers is costing you 3 lines, right? 3 lines of space, right? Don't you think? 3 lines of space to add two numbers and display their sum, right? So if you want to do it 50 times, then it is 5, like 50 into 3, that is 150 lines of code, right? You have to write 150 lines of code inside your int main if you want to add two numbers 50 number of times with different values. Don't you think, Jia? So instead of that, doing that, no, what I could have done is, this guy is there, no, these 3 things I'm going to cut, put it inside this function, say to this, okay, tell this function you're going to take int x, int y, okay, and sorry, sum is what it is, sum is sum, right? Sum is sum slash n. Yeah, that is what I'm going to do. But let's understand what I'm saying now. You are going to call this 50 number of times now. Like, I'll call once, I'll call this foo. See, I'll call this foo with the 2 3. after some lines of code, again I'm going to call this foo with 3 comma 4. It will do that, right? Now again after some some tasks, some lines, again I'm going to call this foo, let's say 40 comma 50, right? And what if this went on continuing like 5000 number of times, and if you had not written a function here, inline functions we'll discuss later, okay? Okay, so I'm going to call this function here, but if I had just written these two lines, then two lines each appear. And in industries and all, it's not just 2 lines, there could be 50 lines, 70 lines of code which is getting repeated in different sections of your program, right? So writing that repeatedly is not a good idea. Don't you think that, Jia? So what I do this is that I generalize my code, say x and y, okay, and its value is sent in these parameters x and y. So I'll just change the parameters for this function and it will do the job for me, right? No need of writing the code again and again. So code reusability is coming into picture, and it looks more clean also, right? It is more readable also. You can get to know, okay, some functionality is done, like I can summation, I can call this thing as summation also, right? So when you say a summation, okay, something is getting added inside this code, and it is called, when it is called, it takes some data, it adds that data and prints that value. It could return a value also. If you want to return a value, then you have to hold that value in your function call, right? Because this guy will get replaced by the return value when a function returns a value from its block. Did you all understand this? Jia and Pritish Carvalho. Rest of you understood what I was talking about? Okay, now let us get into the good stuff. Let us start my session today. So Jia and Carvalho, did you understand some basics on programming? Was this helpful? And one question to you people, do you know what arrays are? Carvalho and Jia, do you know what arrays are? Do you know arrays? Do you know arrays? ARRAY, collection of elements. So you know how to access arrays and all, right, Jia? Do you know array indices? How array is indiced from 0 to n minus 1, all these things? Okay. What about Prith? Did he leave the call? Okay, he is not there. That is fine. Okay, that is fine. Do you know about for loops? Sorry, okay, like other people, I have to get certain information out. Here, like you people also don't know how to use for loops. Rest of you guys told me you know how to, you know the loops, but you are still not able to write for loops properly. All basics, that's all. Okay, you know, right, for loops and all. Okay. So in C++, okay, now I am starting the session, everybody. Okay, focus, everybody are there, no? Yes or no? Rest of you, yes or no? Everybody. नहीं तो अटेंडेंस लूंगा अभी. Okay, सिंपली ओके अटेंडेंस लेना पड़ता है तुम लोगों का. चलो एवरीबडी आर देयर. Some have dozed off. अच्छा. Okay. I now you have an array. It is indexed from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, right, and it has some elements inside it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, right, and you can, if I name this array as A, right, if I do A of 0, I get the element 1, right, and if I want to access the last element, and if my size of my array is, let's say, n, right, my size of my array is n, then I can access my last element. If my n is, what do you say, up here how many elements are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If n is 6, if I want to access my last element, then it is n, it is located at n minus 1th index, right. So if I do A of n minus 1, won't it print 6 for me? That is the basics. So similarly for the new guys, there are something called as vectors. This is how we initialize vectors, like declare vectors. This is same as an array which is of the type int. If I want to, you know, put elements into this vector now, I can use vec dot pushback. Okay, all these things are there. If I do vec dot pushback, there will be an array which is created, which is of size 1. I'm revising you people on vectors, okay. If I do vec dot pushback of 1, there is a box that is created which is having a value 1 and it is indexed as 0. Okay, if I do this same thing with the 2, now 2 is added. But did you understand what I'm doing here with vectors? Vectors like arrays only they are, but they are dynamic in size, you know. Yeah, I'm not specifying the size of my array or something like that. I'm using this pushback function and the size is getting adjusted by itself. That is the beauty of vectors. Did you understand here? So if I do this line again, if I call this line again with the 3, you see, now again size has increased, right, and it goes on until you know, specify something here. If you write more and more such lines, right. So everybody, now I'm starting the session. I declare a vector of int vec. Okay, I put some elements into it. Okay, I do vec, the name of the vector, dot push underscore back. Inside that I'll specify the value that I want to push, that is 1. Okay, now if I do, if I do 1, 2, okay, 3, 4. Now I am giving you a task now. Okay, I want to print this content of this vector not inside this main function. I want to print it in some other function. Okay, I write a function void foo vector of int. It is going to, you know, take a vector as a parameter now, not a integer. Before we were taking integers as a parameter, no, right now we are taking vectors as a parameter. See, like this, And why I have written this and here is I am taking it as reference. When if I don't write this and, it will just create another copy, which is wastage of memory, right? When I call this function, a copy is created of this full vector's copy is created, which is time consuming and memory is wasted. If I write and, it just takes the address of that vector. So it is basically the same vector that you are referring to, or the same array that you are referring to. Did you all understand this? Rest of you, everybody has to answer me now. I am teaching you how to pass vectors into functions. Everybody who are there. If you don't reply, I'll take out names. Yeah, I'll do that. Jia, did you understand how do I declare vectors? How do I push elements into the vector using vec.pushback? Name of the vector dot pushback function and the value which I want to push. Right. Now what if I say the normal way to print the content of this vector would have been for int I is equal to 0, I less than. If I do vec dot size, this is the again another beauty. If I do vec dot size, it will give me how many elements are there in the vector straightforwardly. Right. Now if I do cout vec of I, do space here. Okay, that is it. Let me comment this part out. If I just do this and if I run, there's an error. Okay, so if I want to use vectors, I have to include this header file #include vector. Remember this. Now if I run this 1 2 3 4, right, I printed this content of the vector inside my main function, right? Yes or no, everybody? Did you understand this? Okay. Now what if I tell you I don't want to do it here, I want to do it somewhere else inside my foo function? So don't you think I have to pass this vector into this foo function for it to access the elements? Don't you think? Right. Yes or no? Jia, did you understand what I meant? Before I used to send x and y as the variables, no? But my now foo function has to print the contents of a vector. So it needs to have vector as a parameter, right? It needs to get that data, right? That is one part. And I'm just printing the values inside my foo function. I'm not returning anything, so I have kept it as void. This is the name of my function. This is the general syntax. Inside this I say vector of int, okay, and v, why and? Because I am passing it as a reference, not I am not making copies of it, which wastes space for me. You all understood this, right? Now the same thing I can do it here. Same output. Sorry. See, now I have, see, the reference variable's name is v, and what I am doing is I am doing vec, right? The name is not going to match. So what I can do is I can write v here and run this code. Wait a second. Sorry, I didn't call it. See, understood, right? See, I created a vector, I pushed some elements into the vector inside my main function, I didn't call it, and the function is declared, but nothing is getting printed here. Did you get it? So this is where your program is running, you see. If you don't call this function, it won't print. No problem. Yeah, and is like address. Yes, yeah. It is a reference variable. I'll tell you what it is again in future classes. Today we are short of time now. Right now we just have to understand that I am passing the address to this function. Rest of you understood why it is not getting printed here. If I just do foo and if I pass vector now into this function and then if I do a run, now 1 2 3 4 gets printed. Did you all understand? Okay. So this is how it is, right? Now if you come back to LeetCode, okay, forget about this thing and all. Now what is this now? Tell me. Isn't this just a function? Yes or no? Right, this is just a function which is taking vector as a parameter now, right? And what they are asking on LeetCode is for you to just fill this function. They are not asking you to write the main function, that is done by them at the back end. That is their problem. What they are asking you is just to fill this function. Fill this function somehow and return me these values 2, 3, you know, doing something using this array, return me these values. Did you all understand? Okay. So if I want to replicate this here, what could I have done? Control C, Control V, int, nothing is there inside this, some vector is there, I'm calling this function now. This is how you run this LeetCode code on your machine on online compilers. You have to create a vector which is there here first in your main function, then you have to declare this function here, then you have to call this function by sending this vector as a parameter, then do your coding stuff and all. Then if you want to, this function is going to return you some value, no? Return 1 and all. To get to know what is the answer, you could do C out here. Now did you all understand? N. Now did you all understand how to do it? What you guys were doing is, I'll tell you, just show you one example what you guys do. You have this code, इसको copy किया, like tube lights, you come here, paste this here, run, then some error you get, then you will come, why am I getting this error? Like this if you do programming, then what can we expect? You have to know how everything works properly. Huh? So did you all understand how it is done? Okay, so do you want me to solve this problem or end the session here only? So this was my agenda for today, to teach you how functions you can write. Okay. Many are leaving the call. Kinda. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll solve this problem for you people. So what they are saying is, you are given an array of positive integers ARR, that is a vector. See, you are given a vector here in your function. Perform some operations, possibly none, on array so that it satisfies this condition. You have to perform some operations on this vector. Okay, you are given a vector, an array, it has some elements. Okay, you have to perform some operations on this. What those operations are, we'll see. Okay, and these are not the operations which are written here, these are the conditions. Okay, after performing certain operations on this array, certain conditions have to be met. Okay, what are those conditions? The first value in the array should be equal to 1. What it is saying is that the first element of the array should be equal to 1. Okay, the absolute difference between any two adjacent elements must be less than or equal to 1. Okay, in other words, absolute of ARR of I minus ARR of I minus 1 should be less than or equal to 1 for each I which is greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to ARR dot length. Don't get overwhelmed by this thing. What they are saying is, let's say any element is there. Okay, its adjacent element is what? This guy or this guy, yes or no? If you have 2 here, its adjacent element is which? This guy or this guy? If I index this 0, 1, 2 and 3, this guy's adjacent is this guy's adjacent is this guy, right? Right. So what it is saying is that the difference between, let's say if this was 5, the difference between this and this guy is how much? 2 minus 5, which is minus 3. If I take the absolute mod value, isn't that 3? So the condition is not met, no? The difference between these two is greater than 1, right? It is not less than or equal to 1. Don't you agree? Right. So what should I do? They have given me certain operations. Decrease the value of any element of array to a smaller positive integer. You can rearrange the elements of array to be in any order. That is also possible. What they are saying is that what they are saying is that I can vanish this 5 out, I can remove this 5 out, and I can replace it with something which is less than 5. Let's say if I replace it with 3, now what happens? 2 minus 3, if I take its mod, it is 1. Correct. For this 3, condition is satisfied. Now if 8 was there, difference between these two were how much? 5. Absolute difference was 5. I can just replace this 8 with 4. Now its difference is 1, right? Correct. Now all the conditions are satisfied. First guy is 1. First guy of the array is 1. Its adjacent difference is how much? 1. This guy's adjacent difference is 1. This guy's adjacent difference is 1. For this guy also it is 1, for this guy is also it is 1, correct? Yes or no? Everybody? Jia, did you understand this question? What it is asking you? Like partially, it's not the complete question. So after this thing is done, after you get such an array, okay, they are asking what would be the maximum element in the array. In this case it is 4. Okay, similarly what I could have done is, if it was something like 1, 5, 8, 10, I could have just replaced this 5 with 1, this 5 with 1, this this 8 with 1, this 10 with 1. The difference is what? 0, 0, 0. Still all conditions are satisfied. No, the difference should be less than or equal to 1 is given, right? Correct. Still it is 0. So your final array is 1, 1, 1, 1. This is also true, and its maximum is 1. But you could see that there was this array whose maximum is 4. So you have to tell me, they are asking you after doing some operations, what could be a maximum element that you can bring in your array, is what they are asking you to do. Did you all understand this question? This is the complete question. Everybody, yes or no? If you didn't understand, you can ask me. Okay, so what they did, so now relate to what this function is asking you to do. They give you a list, do something inside this function, just do something inside this function, something you do, write some code and just return me the maximum element, return me that maximum element. That is all this function is asking you to do. Don't write int main, all those things and all. But if you want to do it locally and all, okay, if you had to do it locally, that's vanished. Nice. Stream vector. Okay, so I have a vector int arr, right? Arr dot push underscore back 1. Paste 2, 3, 4. Okay, now what did they do? They wrote this function. I'll just copy this, paste it here, and I'll just call this function now, so that I'll do a cout also with that function. I'll call this function, I'll send this array as parameter for it, /n. Right, I'll do some work here now, I'll do some logic here, I'll return the correct thing. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 will be the answer. If I did what do you say, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 will be the answer. If I send 1001, 1000, see like this, 1000, 1, 1000, take this thing out. At that point of time, this function should, when I call this function with this array, this vector, it should return me 3. That is what LeetCode is expecting. This thing LeetCode is omitting out. It is saying this is my job, this thing and all I'll do. I'll create the array, all these things, I'll call this function. I am calling this function. LeetCode is telling I'll call this function, but you write the body of this function for me and return me the correct answer. That's it. That is what LeetCode is asking you to do, or GFG is asking you to do. Did you all understand now? Understood? Okay, so let me take one example now. Yeah, increment and decrement part for what, Jia? Which body? This is a different question, no? What I explained before is one example. Well, that was a different code. This is a different question now. Did you understand? You'll understand now. Wait a second. So this is the body. Now we have to think about the logic. No, how will you do it? How will you do operations inside this array? Correct. Hmm? How will you, if some array is given, let's say, what can we say? Hmm, let's take this array. Okay, 100, 1000. First thing, the condition was like first element should be 1, right? First element should be 1, correct? So this element I could have replaced by 1, rest remain the same, right? Right. Now if you see, if you come here, this guy and this guy's difference is 0, that is fine. Adjacent guy's difference is 0, correct? No problem. Now this guy and this guy's adjacent difference, if you see, it is 999, which is not good for me. I want to, you know, take this thing out, and I can replace this guy with 2. What is given here? 1001, 1000. Sorry, that is fine. 101, 1000, correct? See, that is what you are doing it here, but LeetCode does it for you, no? It just asks you to write this function. That is it. Okay. So I can replace this guy with 2. Now my final array is looking like something like this, and its maximum right now is 2. But what was my correct answer? It is 3, right? So what possibly went wrong, such that I couldn't, increase my maximum element, right? If I see this test case again, 1000, 1000. Hey, did you guys understand how did I come up with this answer in the first place? What did I do? First element should be 1, Renavia. Rest of you, did you understand what I did here? This 22121 is a different test case now. Okay, I am taking this test case as an example right now. Okay, so I had this thing, this array. If I convert it to this array 1 1 2, I am getting max is equal to 2, right? But now what if I said to you, I rearrange this array something like this. I rearrange the elements. I bring 1 was already there in my array, I keep it here, I shift this 1000 here, sorry 100 here, and I keep my 1000 here. Now 1 is already fixed, no problem. This guy's difference is 999, right? Now I can replace this guy with the 2 to make it, what do you say, make its difference as 1. I could have also replaced this 100 by, what do you say, by 1 also, right? That time its difference would have been 0. But you could see from 1 I kept 1 here, but my maximum remained 1 only, no? But it is allowing me to keep 2. It is keeping like the difference should be less than or equal to 1, no? If I keep it 2, its difference will be 1 and my maximum also increases, correct? So it is always better to try to replace an element, adjacent element, which is as large as possible, and its difference is less than or equal to 1. Don't you think that is correct, everybody? So this guy I will replace by 2, max becomes 2. Now 1000 is there, 2 is there, 998 is their difference, right? Now I have to replace this guy by 3. If I replace this guy by 3, maximum again increases to 3 now. Max became 3, difference is 1, right? Now difference is 1. Instead of 999, 998, now my difference is 1. And my max is 3, and my final array will something look like this: 1 2 3, where max is equal to 3, correct? This was the optimal answer. All of you understood? Okay. Now, as I said, no, normally if you had something like 1000, 100, 1, 1000, if I blindly come and change my first element to 1, then I try to do something here. That is logic, Jia. I'll tell you how we have to think. Always don't think like you have to modify your array. Okay, imagine things, how you can solve a problem. It's not like they are asking it in a complicated way. Actually it is easy. You have to think in a different way. If you see, if there is a, let's see here, if you have a list, okay, now if you just think in this case, if you start from 1, and if they say all of your adjacent elements in your list or in your array, their difference should be less than or equal to 1. Can you have, if your array's size was n, right, array size was n, can you have a number which is like 1000 here at the end, and its difference difference is like less than or equal to 1? If you do that, you could do like something like 999, 998, okay, 997, but you have to keep 1, no? You have to start from 1, and for this one its difference with the next guy should be less than or equal to 1. So 1 to map possibly something with the next position, like if 1 is there at the starting position of my array at the 0th position, this guy who's at the first index, this guy can't be 1000 or something large value. No, it should be either 1 or 2. Correct? Can you imagine this? Can you understand this, everybody? Because the difference is less than or equal to 1. Correct? And if you are starting from 1, its mapper, like the next element to it, can it be 1000? Something greater than it, very much greater than it. If its difference should be less than or equal to 1, it should be something like 1 or 2. Right? Now if you put 2 here, okay, now for this guy 0 1 2, can you have 300 here? For 2, for my difference should be less than or equal to 1. It can either be, you know, 2 or it could be 3. Right? Yes or no? Right? Similarly, if I, okay, and you see here, just see, I'm not replacing this position by 2. I'm gonna put 3 because I want to increase my maximum element. No, I'm being greedy. I introduced a word called as greedy. Right? I'm trying to increase my element every possible time when I'm going to make this condition set, that adjacent elements difference is less than or equal to 1. I'm going to keep the difference is equal to 1 in the best case for me. Right? So my elements are increasing, so my maximum is increasing. Right? Now this difference is 1. Now if I want to put some element here, I'm going to put it with 4 only. Right? Now let's say if you had something up here, okay, something like 2 was there here, okay, right? If something like 2 was there, can you know, make this 2 as 4 and make this guy's difference as 1? Can you do that, everybody? Yes or no? Yes or no? I want everybody to reply yes or no. I'm replacing that number. I'm replacing 2 with 4. Can I do, can I take 2 from 2 to 4? That you don't think. Can you do it as per the rules? Can you do that? They have said you can replace a number to something which is less than it. Correct? If 2 was there, can you replace it with 4? Read here. Decrease the value of any element of ARR, which is your list or a vector or an array, to a smaller positive integer, not greater. So if you had 2 here, can you replace it with 4? No? Right? Now you come with that understanding that you can't replace this 2 with 4. Right? That is true. So you can't do that. So you have to stop here, right? You have to stop here, which difference is 1 only. You have to stop here, that's it. You can't increase it to 4 and all. Your max will remain as 3 only, right? So to avoid such conditions, avoid such cases where um, for any number, if there are two numbers x and y, to make this y greater than this x, isn't it necessary, right, that this y should be greater than x initially, and what do we say, yeah, y should be greater than x initially. Their difference could be very large, very large. I can decrement this y something which is x plus 1, right? I can make this y is equal to x plus 1, such that my y also increases and my difference also remains 1. Don't you think? Mathematically I am saying this. Yes or no? For any two numbers x and y, for their difference to be less than or equal to 1, okay, and to let this, if this number is less than x, you can't help, right? If this number is less than x, you can't help, you can't do anything, because you can't increase this number. It is already less than or equal to 1, you can't do anything. But if it was greater than x, there is a possibility that you can reduce this number, which is, you can reduce this y is equal to x plus 1. If you do, your difference will always be y minus x mod will be equal to 1, no? If it is x plus 1, because x plus 1 minus x, if you take mod, x and x cancels, which is equal to 1, right? Talking about mathematics now, not necessary, but still to give you a correct intuition. Did you understand this part? All of you, rest of you? Right. So don't you think it is better to have an arrangement here, which is something like, if there is a smaller element, if there is some x, this y is, like, at the worst of the worst case also, I am trying to keep it greater than x. If this is y, then this z is greater than y, right? If this is alpha, it is greater than z. If this is beta, this is greater than alpha. So that what I can do is, I can make beta is equal to alpha plus 1, and I can make z is equal to, sorry, alpha is equal to z plus 1. I can make z is equal to y plus 1, right? I can make y is equal to x plus 1, right? So the difference remains 1. Right? Yes or no? Was this a good example that I gave it to you? I am generalizing things for you, so that you don't get confused. You understand why I am doing these things. So when I say I want to keep such an arrangement of elements, so that x is less than y, y is less than z, z is less than alpha, alpha is less than beta, what is this? You have a jumbled sequence and you want to keep it in, what do you say? What is this order actually? Anybody? It is in ascending order. It is in ascending order. This is ascending order. Do you rest of you all agree? Is it in ascending order? Yes or no? Right. Let's see if I add a test case like this. 1000. If I didn't make this sequence get arranged in ascending order, what would I have done? I would have made this 1000 as 1. Then this guy is coming here. This guy is like, okay, this difference is, what do we say, less than or equal to 1. Okay, that is fine. I'll keep it as it is. This guy's difference is less than or equal to 1. I'll keep it as it is. This guy is also, sorry, I'll keep it as it is. This guy's difference is 0. I'll keep it as it is. This guy's difference is 0. I'll keep it as it is. Right. So I couldn't increase this one to something else, right? I couldn't increase my maximum, right? But what if I done, if I had kept these elements in ascending order now? 1, 2, 2, 2, 1000. 1. Okay, difference is correct. Difference is 0. Okay, fine. Fine. Increased. There is a huge difference. This is greater than this. I'll just do, what is this? If this was, what is x, y, z, z, right, alpha. If this was alpha, what I would do is I'll remove this guy, just make it alpha plus 1, right? I would make this 3, right? My maximum now changes to 3. Yes or no? So don't you think, no matter what my array is, I have to arrange them in ascending order, so that the maximum elements are kept at the last, such that, you know, these maximum elements, if they are kept at the last, all the less elements are kept here, right? These maximum elements could be possible candidates to increase my maximum, right? Because they can reduce and make the difference is equal to 1. No? Did you all understand this? I tried my best today to make you understand it mathematically. I came up with this approach during the session. I don't know how I came up with this, but still. Did you all understand this? Because I want to ask Jia, because she is new, no? Because rest of you, most of you were there. Amisha, you were not there 2-3 days back when I took in separate lobby. I struggled to explain this question. So how was it? Did you guys understand properly what I am doing? Did you understand, Anish, what I did? Because you solved it by yourself, but did you understand why I have to sort the array? Why I have to keep it in ascending order? So there is something called as a sort function in C++. Okay, there are different sorting algorithms that you can use to sort a list or an array. What you have to do is you have to give the array name in, comma, array name plus n, your size of your array. In case of vectors, it is sort arr dot begin, which points to the starting position of your vector, arr dot end, which points to the ending position of your vector. What this does is, if your vector was something like 2, 1, 1, 10, 5, after this sort function is applied to this vector, it just rearranges it in a sorted order, in ascending order. Sorry. Yeah, array should be in ascending order. You are rearranging your elements in your array, and they have told that rearranging is allowed. No? That is also they have said in the question. Rearranging is allowed. See, rearrange the elements of an array to be in any order. Right. So if I rearrange this array, like if I rearrange this array, okay. Now if I rearrange this array, 1 1 2 2 1000. Now if I see, first I'll just replace this first element by 1, okay, of my array. It could be anything, right? It may not be just 1 1 here. And this will become 3. This will become 3. This will be 2. This should be 2, right? I'll fix this guy as 1 now. Now 2 is greater than 1, correct? Right, 2 is greater than 1 and its difference is, what do you say? It is, what do you say? It is 1 only. So I'll keep it as it is. But what if it is greater than that? If it is greater than this 1, as I said, alpha plus 1 I'll do. So I'll replace 2 by 1 plus 1, that is 2 only. No problem. Come here. 3. 3 is again greater than 2. I'll replace this by, what do you say? Beta plus 1 again. That is 2 plus 1. 3. Now I am at 3. 3's previous is 3. Right. And 3 is, equal to 3. Right. Wait a second. So 3 is equal to 3. It's not greater than 3. Right. So this is, I have to keep it as it is. Correct? Don't you think, everybody? Yeah, it will sort negative numbers also. You can only bring a element down if it is greater than the previous element, correct? If it is equal, you can't do anything. It is like that only, right? That is done. So I keep 3 as 3. So my maximum right now is 3. Right. Now I am at 1000. 1000 is greater than 3. Right. So I can bring it down to something like 3. More than 3. So 3 plus 1, I can make it as 4. This is my answer. My max is 4. Please don't text when I am writing. Okay. Hey. Don't text when I am writing. Please. It's annoying, yeah. Okay, it is 4. So, did you all understand how I came up with this thing? Every one of you. What about the rest? Nishkal? Right. Now what I was doing here, tell me. Actually, if you see, first what I did was I sorted the array. Then I replaced my first position of my array is equal to 1. Right. Then I ran into my array. For I is equal to 1, I start from my first index here. Because this is done, no? Start from this index, which is at index 1. This is 2, this is 3, this is 4, right? First index, I less than n, I plus plus, Correct, I'm running into my array, I'm processing each and every element of my array. Yes or no? I should do that, right, everybody? Yes or no? What about the rest? Gia, did you understand? Right, I have to go into my array, you have to run into my array. This is how I will traverse. So every time if I find if my ARR of I is greater than ARR of I minus 1, what I'll do is I'll just update ARR of I to ARR of I minus 1 plus 1, right? And I'll update my max is equal to ARR of I, or ARR of I minus 1 plus 1 also you can do. Again you can write, but this is what it is, right? Don't you think this is correct what I am doing? Yes or no, everybody? Shall I code this up? Did you all understand the thought process, intuition behind this problem? Okay, let me code this up now. What I'll do is first I'll sort the array, sort the vector. I told you ARR dot begin, comma. Wait, first I have to reset. I have to bring these classes up. It is necessary in lead code. We'll discuss it somewhere else, but for now just remember this, okay? ARR dot begin, comma, ARR dot end. I sort this array. I replace my first element of my array to 1. I run into my array, int I is equal to 1, I less than ARR dot size I plus plus. I told you about the size function of an vector. Now you can either do this or you can create a new variable outside, write it as ARR dot size. You can store this size in some variable and write the size here to make it more readable for you. Okay, so I also need a max element to store my answer, max variable, right? So I'll declare it. I am not going to initialize it as of now. So if ARR of I minus 1 is, sorry, if my ARR of I is greater than ARR of I minus 1, ARR of I is equal to I minus 1 plus 1, correct? Max is equal to ARR of I, return max. Do you understand how this is going? ARR of I is greater than ARR of I minus 1. Your index this is your index, okay? 2 2 3 3 1000 was there, no? These are your indices 0 1 2 3 4. When it comes to coding, you guys will mess it up. I have sorted this array right now already. So initially it was something like 1002 1003 322. It could be something like that. After sorting, it becomes this. Okay, I replace my first element as 1. Okay, so this guy goes. Right, now I'll start my loop from here. I is equal to 1. Here I is equal to 1. I minus 1 is what? This element. I compare whether ARR of I is this greater than ARR of I minus 1. If it is, ARR of I minus 1 plus 1 you do. Keep it as 2 and replace it by 2 and update your maximum to that element only, which is this guy, right? Now come here to the same, come here, ARR of I is greater than this thing, so okay, 2 plus 1 3. Now your I comes here, I was here, now I comes here, this I checks with this guy back, this is not greater than 3, it is equal to 3, nothing happens, it goes to the next iteration, right? I becomes 4 now, okay. Now it checks with this, 1000 is greater than 3, so 3 plus 1 it will become, so this guy will get replaced by 4, right? And your max becomes 4. You all understood how this code is working? Everybody? It's not that much. Right. So after this, what you have to do on LeetCode is, you have given some example test cases, no? When you click on run, your code is running on these 3 example test cases. Okay, accepted on all three test cases are passing. Now if you want to run on your own test case, let's say if you go to test case, write plus, then write your own thing. Some test case you could write something like 1000 comma 2 comma 2. So what should be our array be? Should do make it 1, then 2, then 3, so answer should be 3, right? And is your code giving you the same thing? See at the 4, your code's output is 3 and your expected output is also 3. LeetCode is going to give you the correct answer for this test case, and it will check whether your code's output is same as its output. What do you mean by your code's output? What your function returned. You are returning this max, no, whether this max value, which is 3, is matching their correct answer. If it is, then it will give you a green here, or else it will give you a red. After this is done, you can just click on submit and check. Okay, it gives me a wrong answer. It is for what case? First I can keep my max as 1 itself. Okay, now I'll submit. Because why that case happened is, like, if your array had only one element, okay, let's say if it was 1000, there's no point, no, you have to just replace it by 1 and your max can at the least be 1 only, right? Now it's accepted, correct? Did you all understand? So what I did was, I'll just initialize my max with 1, then whatever happens it could update it, right? Okay, you guys understood how the code is working? I'll show you how this you can. Now let's see how you can run this code on your online JDB. Just replace this function by this function now. Now we have a certain test case 100, 1000, 3. Answer for 100, 1000 was 3. If I put 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, I'll remove the pushback off and I'll just hard code it here. Okay, you can do it like this. You see, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. If I give that, if I give this test case here, what is my answer? You see, it's giving me 2. What does LeetCode expect you? 2. This is how you run on online compilers or on your local machine. Everybody are clear now how your codes are ran on these online platforms? Everybody. Tell your friends who have missed this session, who have left the session in the between, to watch the recording, okay? Or you guys teach them. See, when you open your VS Code, something like this comes up. What you have to do is click on file. Okay, you have to click here. It is fine. This you leave. Open folder. Let's see, you go into your documents. No, okay. So here you write sigmoid something like this. I'll write. This is your folder. Select your folder. So all your files you are going to work inside this folder, okay? All your files which you are going to do. I'll write something like cp.cpp. Okay. Now this is where you have it. Now this code, Control C, paste it here. Right, and I will do Control Alt B. Now but how did it run it? How did it run on online JDB? Weird. They automatically put, I guess so. So you get 2. Okay. This is an extension that I am using. You can go here. You can write competitive programming, something like this. Competitive. See, competitive programming from Divyansh Agarwal. You have to click on this. You have to click on install, and after that is done. No, what you have to do is come into your file here. You have to click Control Alt B, and this thing will open up. But you can write your input here and do green. It will run your code. Shortcut Control plus Alt plus B. This is what it is as far as I know. For me it is Control Alt B. For you it could be something different. So on your convenience. So yeah.